that dude. Bet I see you from the top, yeah, real soon. Looking down on the haters that I've been through. Told them I'll see you later, yeah, big cruise. I keep a real good pace. Built a big house, damn, look at that place. Up in my mind, cause that's my space. House so big, full of positive things. And I can't be shook, cause I ain't no rook, man, I wrote the book.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Look at my guys, T-Spain in the building, along with Dr. Glenn Morgan. How my guys doing today on another episode of Monsters of the Gridiron?
Yes, sir, man. It is 2025 NFL schedule release day. Hey, I see Glenn over there smiling. He must know a little something. He must got like a little inside football for us or something.
Man, I just got elevated to doctor. I mean, my pay scale just went up high. I'm feeling a lot better. Dr. Morgan sound good.
Hey, look, I'm down here in San Antonio, boy. Look, the most UTSA road runner said, y'all got a bear from UTSA. Who would have ever thought it, guys? Who would have thought it? It's a lot of talent down here, guys.
It is.
UTSA, Texas State. Look, it's a lot of hidden gems out here in the great state of Texas, guys. I'm telling you.
Yeah,
and I'm having a good time identifying these guys, working with these guys, setting them in position to at least be considered for the next level. So we're having fun. Like now, I think football has become like the fabric of our soul monthly. Like it used to be like, okay, after the season over with, you take some time off. But as you can see now, we go from the Super Bowl to the Shrine Bowl to the Senior Bowl to the draft. Yeah, the combine, then the draft, then now the schedule release, then what, OTAs, well, hold up, I'm sorry, rookie camp, mini camp. Like, think about it, every month, something is going on that's keeping us engaged where we don't even think about basketball or think about baseball. Like, because like me and Terry was discussing earlier, I see they bringing Michael Jordan back because the ratings for the NBA is so low. They need somebody to pump some juice back into this thing. You know what I'm saying?
They need that kickstart.
They need that. I wanna be like mine.
Yes, sir. But you know what? That's a strategic move too, man, because it works for both parties. Michael Jordan gets to remain relevant with the younger crowd or those who get to, because it's unfortunate, honestly, it is, that these young kids and these young generation never got a chance to see Michael Jordan play, right? And so all they know is LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and not knocking any of these players because they're great players as well. But they wear the Jordan shoes, but they've never seen Jordan play. So this will wins for both of them because now Jordan's going to continue to sell more shoes because people are like, I need to buy Jordans because he's on TV, You got all these players that these kids look up to, but the Michael Jordan shoe is still the number one remaining shoe for athletes. And so it's a win-win for him and the NBA and for the younger generation who didn't see him play, but at least get a chance to hear him and his perspective on the game.
Yeah, as a longtime suffering Sox fan, anything to make my mind off of the Sox or therefore lack of what they're doing, I'm all for. But no, you guys make great points, obviously. And football it's 365. And here's the great thing about it is I said football. I didn't say NFL. Football is 365 because collegiate football took a huge step, having the playoffs that they did last year. NIL is going a long way, and I think perpetuating collegiate sports, and not just football, but all sports. And football and basketball are the money makers for certain, collegiately speaking. But you're having players now have the option and the desire, not just the option, but the desire to want to stay in school a little bit longer. And what does that do? That helps them become more seasoned, helps them give them other opportunities to where they don't rush to get to the NFL or don't rush to get to the pros sooner and then kind of lessen the product, not just at the NFL level potentially, but most definitely at the collegiate level. College basketball suffered, I think, the last 10, 12, 15. The one and dones didn't do them any favors. At all. Now, some of these guys have an opportunity to think about it, stay a little longer, get a little more seasoned, develop, and the NBA, may get a little bit of a better product. Your top tier guys are going to be your top tier guys. Mm-hmm. That being said, to bring this full back around to football, what we have here, you have guys are going to stay at schools like USTA. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, UTSA, excuse me, because they can still get some money. They don't necessarily have to transfer to a different school, but they can. And if they do, they're probably going to stay a little bit longer. We just saw Quinshon Judkins. He could have come out last year if he wanted to. Didn't need to. He didn't have to leave Ole Miss. He could have stayed at Ole Miss. He wanted to go to Ohio State. These guys have options now, and they can desire to stay, to obviously acquire some money, but also some talent and better their draft status. And I think the professional ranks are going to benefit from that. And eventually, once college settles down, I think you're going to see a lot more stability and consistency be promoted in that at that level, which should then, like I said, will transfer over to the professional level, giving us a better product overall.
You know what? That makes a lot of sense, Glenn. Because, like I said, you're gonna have the top tier players, but now, like I would say, if the ones that would already probably that were looked at as fourth rounders, fifth round, if they stay 3-4 years,
right,
that's going to accelerate hopefully their learning curve. And then they come in and give us a better product on a lot of these middle round.
Hit the ground running.
Now they might have a shorter lifespan in the NFL, but for the 4, 5, 6 years that we get, it's going to be a more quality product than a lot of the ones that we've seen in the past that have flared out in the first 2 years. Because when you look at this quarterback crop, what was it, 21 with Trey Lance and Justin Fields, and
maybe they came out too soon.
Yeah. All of them, for the most part, came out too soon, and we've seen the results of, with the exception of Trevor Lawrence, everybody else they got new area codes and zip codes.
And shoot, they are even talking about getting rid of Trevor Lawrence if they don't produce this year. So it's the nature of the beast and the business too, man. And speaking of NFL, hey, I have the schedule.
Hey, look, you beat me to the point. I just get rid of it. It just popped up on my phone, baby. Hey, lead off do the first quarter, T, and I'll do the second half. Because the first quarter, those are the games I've identified to go to right off the muscle. Look at the first quarter, the first 4 of them. All 4 of them, we in the building.
Check this out. First game, kickoff, we all know is Monday night against the stinking Vikings.
No, Minnesota Vikings. It's the Vikings, baby.
Wow.
And then we play. Then we go to we play Detroit, at Detroit, and then we play Dallas at home, and then we go to the Raiders on September 28th. But we play Dallas September 21st. We play the Vikings. The Detroit Lions from September 14th. So. And then we got a bye week. We got our bye week early though. Week 5.
Week 5. Early. I saw that.
That's early.
It is early.
But if we can come out 4-0 and hit the bye week, I like it.
I'm gonna say 2 things real quick before Will gets with the rest of the schedule. I like the fact that unlike last year where we didn't face our divisional opponents until the second half of the season, never one. Yeah, because it led to the fact that they get a chance to look at what we're doing. We don't get a chance to play against them. They can be much more fortified and prepared. And since they were further along, it did work against us. So this year, we're getting to see them early. But I like the 2 teams that we are seeing early because the Vikings still have to figure out their quarterback situation. Right. The very first game. The Lions still have to figure out their coordinating positions, and those coordinators still have to get in sync with all those players. They lost both the offensive and defensive coordinator. We got the offensive coordinator. He's our head coach. Yeah. And we get to catch them early on before they really are set and get their legs running. That's a lot of a turnover, particularly in an administrative position. And we saw what happened to the Philadelphia Eagles when they lost both their coordinators in the same offseason. They struggled. Now, they won some games early on, don't get me wrong, because they had gone to the Super Bowl. They're a veteran team. And the Lions are a veteran team. However, it's going to impact them because they did lose coordinators. And not just coordinators, they also lost subsequent coaches as well. They lost coaches off the coaching staff. So that's a lot. So I'm glad we're catching them early on. So that's a good thing. And it gives us a chance, the Bears gives the Bears a chance to jump ahead and potentially catch teams at the right time. NFL, man, you can look at the schedules now, what we're about to do. And according to what I saw, the Bears have the second hardest schedule. However, in the NFL, it's when we catch you, when we play you.
Exactly.
You got to think about attrition. You got to think about coordinators don't went out, new coordinators coming in, promoted. Everything got a jail, like change of personnel. So like you said, Glenn, I think again, and this is not drinking the Kool-Aid, but we potentially could come out 4-0 in the first, because I like to break it up in quarters every 4 games.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you look at the second quarter, 3 out of the 4 games on the road.
Yeah.
At Washington, where we owed them a little get back. Like I said, a lot of us was in that stadium, and I'm gonna tell you,
hey, we were right there.
I was talking cash money, you know what? I was talking cash money like twat.
Yeah.
So when they got that Hail Mary, I had to go eat crow real quick.
Look,
I'm gonna be honest now. And see, look, God done brought Samo on the line right when I'm getting ready to say this.
Samo, what's happening, baby?
What's happening, fellas?
What up,
What's
Sam?
up, boy? Hey,
I know what you're doing. I know you're looking at the schedule. He's looking at the schedule, trying to see where you're going at. Oh yeah,
yep.
Look,
yep.
After that Commander game, it was a wrap because you couldn't hear a rat pissing on cotton after that game. Like you can see the faces of the players, of the coaches, and it was like that one game, everybody was deflated.
Yeah,
they was deflated. Like mentally, the season was over because we went on a 10-game losing streak after that.
Yeah, deflated like a Tom Brady football.
Man, come on now. I'm talking about deflate gate. So look, I'm saying we could go 4-0 in the first quarter and then come back and hit the Commanders, the Saints, the Ravens, and the Bengals. Even if we go 2-2, we 6-2, guys.
Yeah. I'm looking at it
because look, hey, don't the Saints wish they would have selected Shedeur Sanders now?
Maybe we gotta see what Shuck is like.
Yeah,
we can see what Shuck is like.
Hey, Doc, I saw Shuck at the combine. I ain't buying it.
I know. I'm just saying it because I just on record. I just want to get it out there. But I'm with you. I don't understand why they didn't take Shedeur. It blows my mind.
I ain't gonna shuck and drive. You don't know.
Yeah. So call out. Man, this is man. I know these are all tough games, but
and see, that's what I'm saying. Okay, when you look at, like you say, the Vikings. The line, man, I'm not scared of no lines, man.
No,
like,
but I'll tell you this though, that Monday night game is a must-win game for Chicago. I don't care. I mean, I ain't gonna say like it's our season's over if
it's
we
a
lose.
Tone setter. To your point,
yeah. But yes, we need to set the tone immediately. Yeah, and then we got JJ McCarthy. I mean, not to take anything away from the young man, but you don't know what he's gonna be able to do.
Maybe we don't know if he's a starter.
Yeah.
We don't. I mean, they don't.
How many times did JJ McCarthy throwing the ball 30 times? Because they're going to play from behind. We're going to score some points, I know, in that first game.
Well, slow your horses there, Samo. I love you, Samo. I don't know about you said we're going to score some points. That Vikings defense, it's got some problems. There's some problems there.
Yeah, they got
what did Caleb do against them when he was at home? The last time Caleb had the Vikings at home, he was 32 of 47 for 300 yards. 340 yards and 2 touchdowns. Now, so Caleb has figured out the Vikings defense. Like, he's not afraid of that Vikings defense. They blitzed him, and he was getting the ball out, and that was with less talent and a horrible offensive line. And so I think that this time around, he's to be a second-year quarterback. Granted, he'll be in a new offense. His offensive coordinator was has been 5-1 against the Vikings the past 2 years, averaging 30 points a game, 400 yards.
Look at him. I like it. I like how you bring the solution.
So
yeah,
I'm ready for that conversation. Like,
thank you. That's all I'm saying.
Ready for that
That.
conversation. So
thank you. Yes.
I think we got a good chance. Now, granted, I feel like we didn't see that defense being as aggressive as we saw it being against other teams, against the Bears for some reason last year. I think that they played a lot more coverage than I would have expected. So I do expect them to dial up a lot more blitzes against Caleb this year, because last year I didn't feel like they were as aggressive throughout the year. I saw some games they would be really aggressive and some games they wouldn't. So we'll see. But the fact that they'll have a new quarterback behind center, I think we have a real fighter's chance, and we'll be at home. So, and there's that comfortability for Caleb too. So I feel like we have a real fighter's chance to win that first game, and I think that's a tough game on a Monday night. That is a tough game. Now, don't get me wrong, but I like our chances.
You watch.
I like our chances, but you know what? I think this would be a game that Ben Johnson gets old boy who fired him when he was at Miami. He was the wide receiver coach, and Flores fired Ben Johnson. So I see this. If Caleb get rid of the ball, man, this is gonna be a game where Ben might put up 40 on Flores defense.
Okay. He's got that petty in him.
Yeah, what?
Ben Johnson does.
And I love it.
I love it too.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something.
And he's from Carolina too. I just want to throw that out
I love that. I love that.
I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah. Hey, Ben Johnson wants to beat teams. He don't just want to win. He wants to beat you. And that's what I love about Ben Johnson. And then we got a defensive coordinator who's never had that. Dennis Allen has never had an offense that can put up points. So if he has an offense that can score a lot of points and he played with defense with a lead, like we could see a difference in Dennis Allen as well.
Yeah.
But let's go game by game. All right, we're saying we're gonna get the Vikings. What y'all really think gonna happen in Detroit? If we have no injuries and our offense is gelling, the defense, because for some reason I feel like we're gonna make one more move, and I don't want to say it's gonna be Trey Henderson, but I feel like one more move is coming on defense.
Whether it does or doesn't, and I know I'm always usually the negative person in terms of like slow your horses about all the wins and stuff. No matter how good Detroit has been, no matter what quarterback or how bad our offensive coordinators have been in the line, we're a matchup problem for Detroit.
Always.
Every time.
A matchup problem. And I don't see that being any different. And I see it actually leveraged in our direction because our head coach knows that personnel roster-wise.
Yeah.
Now, we don't know how they're going to execute because they have different coordinators for the most part. But he knows their personnel. He knows their strength and weakness. He knows who to attack on defense. You know what I'm saying? He knows who to have the defense attack on offense and how to, So I feel that's I legitimately feel 2-0 is a strong possibility. Yeah. And 2-0 here is going to feel like 8-0. And nationally, it's going to be like, are the Bears for real? At that point, that's when I get concerned because I'm like, can we handle all this positive attention? Yeah, and we get too happy too quick too soon, and that's where your veterans and your coaching staff have to make sure everybody is staying level-headed but aggressive and what have you. But I do believe 2-0 is a strong possibility. I'll say that going forward.
Okay, I definitely agree with you on that. And then it's always a toss-up with the Cowboys, right? Even though we're playing them at home. It's a toss up because they're trying to identify. They're trying to make up for last year. Right. They seen the team in their division win the Super Bowl, so you already know what they're trying to do. So it's a toss up right now. I'm when you say go week by week, we're gonna definitely have to go week by week because if we go 2-0 and if we're 4-0 after the bye,
before the bye,
and before the bye. That you're right, Glenn. Our veteran leadership is going to have to say, "Hey, pipe down. We haven't accomplished nothing." Mm-hmm. Well, because look at the Bears when we came back from London, and we won. I was at that game, and I'm thinking like, "Oh man, this might be it." Look what happened.
Yeah, I'm glad I changed my mind.
Yes, at the very least, being 3-1.
Who's the Cowboys' new head coach?
Brian Schottenheimer,
Marty's boy.
Yeah. So again, we're catching people at the right time,
and then they have Matt Eberflus.
That's right.
Yeah. They have Matt Eberflus
I see
as their defensive coordinator.
I see 3-0 being a strong possibility because we're catching people at the right time. There's a lot of newness in those first three teams right there. Really, I don't know if the schedule maker somewhere is like a closet Bear fan, but you can't really schedule having when you catch teams at the right time any better than that. New quarterback under center for Minnesota, new coordinators for the Cowboys. I mean, for the Lions and ostensibly the Cowboys. So you're catching a lot of. Now, granted, I know we're new too, but there's it's a bit of a difference because you got Prescott coming off of injury. He's the defense it ain't what it was. They got guys coming off of injuries as well in the secondary. They got a lot of question marks for a team that's been as talented as they've been. They got a lot of question marks. So yeah, I think we catch people at the right time, man. I think the arrow for us is pointing forward. Those other teams is kind of like this, could go either or, and I think we catch them at the right time.
Because, like you said, okay, we got a bunch of new coaches, but we got the right coaches, like Al Harris, Antoine Randall, like those guys are seasoned veterans that can step right in, and if they got the pieces, which so far they have the pieces, I think we're gonna see fireworks Monday night, guys. First game of the year. I'm gonna just be honest. I truly believe we're gonna see 35-40 against them Mike Queens that Monday night. And then the following weekend against Detroit, I think he gonna shred because everybody that we have all the way back to Trubisky shredded Detroit. Hell, I remember when Trubisky shredded him. I got visions right now. Allen Robinson dived in the back end zone, catching touchdown against the Lions.
Yes, sir.
And we know what Justin did. So it's always a matchup problem for us, with the exception of that 41-10 game we lost because, hell, we went 3-14, guys, with a bunch of JV guys that year. So I don't really even count that. So I feel like we're going to give Detroit a bunch of matchup problems. And then when you look at the Cowboys, like me personally, I just don't respect them. I'm going to be honest. Other than Michael Parsons, I feel like we're going to shred their defense. We chip him. And then look, who better know Dak than Al Harris, who was one of the best pressure man cornerbacks when he played. And I still remember that game. Remember that game with Green Bay? Remember that game when Green Bay played Seattle? And Hasselbeck said he called it in overtime, and what happened? Goddamn, he threw that pick to Al Harris. Harris took it the other way.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think Al Harris is going to be just what the doctor ordered for Tyreek Stevens. And if he ain't, that boy that they got from down here at UTSA,
Zach Frazier.
Let me tell y'all something.
Nate Frazier.
Let me tell you something. Frazier's the dog, guys. He
got all the tools to be.
He got all the physical traits. He got the speed. He can press. He can
long arms.
He got long arms, and he's physical. So it ain't gonna be no horse playing around like that Washington Commander game last year, not being mentally in the game because you got Terrell Smith and another young bull.
Got Terrell Smith too.
Ready to step up. And then Las Vegas
we got competent coaching, man. I think this year gonna be different for the Bears, man. And I know we said this the past 2 years, but we know what our deficiencies were from that. We know what we were lacking. We know what we went wrong. We know what we erred, or we knew where they erred in their ways. And I think we fixed those. I think we fixed the offensive line, even though there's still a question mark at left tackle. But I think that we have good competition with 3 different guys that could start at that position, and then with competent coaching, we're not going to leave a guy out on the island every play. Give that guy some help if he needs some help on that left side. I think we're going to be good there. We missing a dominant defensive end right now on the other side of Montez Sweat, but we still got Odangbo. We don't know what he's going to be. We still got Booker, and I think he's gonna surprise some people, man. I really like what Booker can do as a pass rusher. Man, I think we're gonna excel this year because we have a great roster. I'm not gonna say we have a good roster. I think we have a great roster. We might not have the depth that we want, but everybody that's starting, I think we're pretty solid. We're right up there with the top of the league as far as talent goes there. And then we have depth in certain positions too. And we're going to have competent coaching, man. That's going to make a hell of a difference from us.
Come on, Samo. That's what I'm waiting for you to say, Samo.
Like we got offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators. We got the position. The position groups are going to get better. We're going to see players actually develop. That's what we haven't seen in the past 10 years or so. We have not been developing any talent. I think that's going to change under this coaching regime, man. And I put a lot of trust in Ben Johnson as a head coach. Just because I think that in order for you to have a top offense in the league for 3 years in a row, man, you have to be demanding, you have to be decisive,
Precise.
and you have to be
Precise.
Yeah, you have to be precise, man. Like all of those things, like you have to have that. Like you're going to be very demanding of your players, man, and you have to have a lot of discipline. As far as you have to command a lot of discipline from your players, and I think that's the type of football team we're going to have. And we already know what Dennis Allen can do with a defense, man. With less talent, I think we have a lot of talent on our defense. I think we still need something better, probably at the safety position. We need to figure that out in that edge rusher. But we have the interior pass rushers looking a lot better, so that's going to make these edge rushers look a lot better too. And get them a lot better opportunities, or those guys in the middle are going to push that pocket in and get home sometimes. So, like I said, man, I'm not afraid of anybody, especially in their top 4 games. The Vikings, I think that, they have some things to figure out. Like Glenn said, the Cowboys have a lot to figure out. They have a talented team, but look at what they did in the draft. They don't have anybody that just coming in and just going to turn their team around. That's just going to make them instantly better. The same could be said about the Lions, man. They didn't do a lot in this draft. They got a couple offensive linemen, Isaac Tesla. Isaac Tesla not scaring nobody. They got Talik Williams that's going to help them with the run game, but just kind of stuff our run game. But I think we're going to be good, man. We have a great running scheme. So, man, I think we're in a really good position. And then we face Pete Carroll, game 4. On a Sunday afternoon,
Yeah.
Like, man, that's another
they got a new quarterback too, right?
A less talented team. Yeah, that roster is not a good roster. You think you like the roster? You like that roster?
I think it's the kind of roster that Pete Carroll can do something with. And I think because of that makes it formidable. I'm with you. I'm not saying it's a standout roster, no, but it's a roster that fits the dynamic of the coach. And when you get that in sync, then you can do something. We've seen Vrabel, just to give you an example, with Tennessee Titans years past. That roster's not scaring anybody, but damn if they weren't always in the playoffs, causing problems and beating teams like the Chiefs in the regular season and beating the Patriots when they were good in the regular season and giving the Ravens all they can handle in the regular season and then winning a playoff game here or there. So that's if it were a different coach, I'd be like, yeah, whatever. But this guy, I'm like, and he's not your typical older coach because he's got that young spirit. He's like perpetually like stuck at like age 60. He's like a youthful age 60. He's probably about 92 years old.
You're right.
Like
You're right. He got a lot of energy.
He's 7,000 years old.
You're right.
Yeah. BC.
He's 75. He's still bouncing around.
BC.
Cheerful dude. He's not like
but he's in the wrong division. That's the thing, though. See, you got Kansas City, you got Denver, and who they got? The Chargers.
Yeah, Chargers.
So I mean,
tough division.
Yeah, it's a tough division.
Yep.
Right. So that means they're looking to the Bears. As much as we checking off wins, other teams looking at us going like, hey, that's a possible win. So if you're the Raiders, if you're the Raiders and you got a home game, and you got the Bears coming, it's like, hey, maybe these boys get here, they a little, distracted the night before or 2 nights before whenever they get there because it's Vegas, But they're looking at the Bears as, this is a team that we need to win. It may be a must-win game for the Raiders in a lot of ways. And when you have your back up against the wall, or if you have a certain focus with specificity in terms of where you think you have your chance to win, and you can extrapolate the best from your players at that point and get the best from them, because you know what? We match up here, and here, and this is how we're going to win. We've seen that. I mean, any given Sunday, fellas, any given Sunday. So I don't look at it as a gimme. I look at it as, where are the possible pitfalls in that one? Overconfidence on our end, especially if we're 3-0. You know what I'm saying? It's a road game. It's Vegas. It's Pete Carroll. Players have something to prove. At that point, if the Raiders are 0-3, they're more desperate to get a win. So, or if they're 0-4, whatever the case might be when we play them. So yeah, to me, it's not a layup, but I also believe that the Bears are in a position to where they can leverage a win, but like with anything, man, you got to stay focused. You got to understand who you are, and you got to understand how to defeat your opponent in front of you. And that's where the coaching comes in, man. Again, Ben Johnson, I love like everything Samuel was saying. I love his pettiness, you know, but I also like the fact that here's a guy who he focuses on winning, and he don't give a you know what about anybody's feelings.
Right.
He just doesn't. And so, you know, it's like, hey, this is what we're gonna do, and this is how we're gonna do it. So it'll be an interesting game. I think the Raiders are a little bit more talented than we're giving them credit for. Change at quarterback should get a little more consistency there. You know, running back should definitely be something that, you know, have to pay attention to. The offensive line, you know, and sometimes keeping it simple and executing is a lot better than being complicated and you can't get shit done.
You're right. You brought me back down with that one. You're absolutely right. And they do have their roster is kind of talented now that I think about it, and they do have a really good coach. And just in thinking about it, I forgot that they got Geno Smith, and you know they got Ashton Genty as their quarterback. I mean, as their running back, and you know that Pete Carroll likes the big, long, fast receiver like the DK Metcalf. And they went and got your Tennessee homeboy, who I wanted the Bears to get in. Dante Thornton. So they move it. They have some nice weapons, and then they got that tight end from last year. That dude is a monster. Right. He's gonna get the Bears a headache. So and then the
defensive interior.
You know, they got that monster.
And they weren't healthy a little bit on the stretch. So
did they get an interior pass rusher? Let me see.
Well, they got him last year, just they were injured.
Yeah.
So the defensive interior. Yeah.
All right.
I think they drafted somebody, I think, too. So yeah, man, it's
not going to be a cakewalk. You definitely can see that. Yeah, you're right.
Look, I don't see it being a cakewalk.
Yeah, we're gonna have to beat them. They're not gonna lay down for us. That's the team we're gonna have to beat. It's not a team that's just gonna lay down for us. And then we're gonna be in Vegas too. So you got to think about that on a
seriously
afternoon. Afternoon.
Yeah. So what happens Saturday?
That's
Friday and Saturday night. Yeah. Well, what happens Friday and Saturday
night? I might go to be honest. I'm gonna have to think about that one.
But y'all see, we got a lot of primetime games, guys. So when I see a lot of primetime games like this, somebody anticipating somebody being pretty good.
They just don't want to miss out on the moment. That's what that is. Yeah. Because they got a new coach, a hot shot quarterback, got all this turnover. They don't want to miss the Bears moment if they want to, you know, capture that. So they're not done. The NFL knew there was time. Ben Johnson, first time head coach. Everybody wanted him. Every team that needed a coach wanted him. Yeah. So you know they're not going to miss those moments, man. Yeah. And you know, so we got to move. Hey, who you think the next game that we have? We play what? The Saints next at home in Chicago.
That's the one layup. That's the one layup I'm giving them.
Washington.
Everything I said about the Raiders, throw out when it comes to the Saints.
Right? That's the
hey, quiet as kept though.
Oh no, we
beat
got
the Saints
Washington.
in a minute though. When last time we beat the Saints?
Yeah, but we got the defensive coordinator now, and they got no quarterback.
Yeah. And we actually play Washington. My bad. It's Washington, then it's the Saints.
Yeah, so what y'all trying to say? Y'all trying to say that
Jay Daniels don't have a sophomore slump? Too, so that's
Y'all think he gonna have a sophomore slump or what? What we think?
No.
I don't think so.
Who are you talking about?
Look, I got a better idea. During that game, we run a female out there that want to talk to him. Then Mama gonna come out there and shut it down.
Well, I don't. You know what? He may have a sophomore slump. Jay Daniels, he may regress a little bit.
Nah, I don't see it, Doc.
Because I believe he surprised a lot of people initially with his first season, and he was riding high for that. But quite honestly, I think people are going to game plan a lot more towards him. They're going to know his strength, what his weaknesses are, and they're going to tackle that. And I'm going to be honest with you. I think the kid is nice, but I think he's going to regress just a little bit this year. It's going to be costly. You heard it first. You heard it first on Monsters of the Gridiron podcast. He is going to regress a little, and it's going to hurt the Commanders big time.
So would you say C.J. Stroud regressed last year?
In some aspects, he did.
And they still made the playoffs, right?
Yeah, but I mean, you got to look at the division. Who was going to beat him in that division?
Good rebuttal. Good rebuttal. It's a
Yeah,
good rebuttal.
me, Sammo, and Will could have beat that win in that division. Look, who was the top? Who's the big bad wolf in that division? Tell me that. Riddle me that, Batman.
He had an easy slate in that division, right?
Yeah.
Hey, that's
Sammo,
Well,
baby.
what,
Yeah,
I mean, hey,
yeah.
outside of the Eagles, I don't think the Cowboys or the Giants are presenting the same type of competition that makes Washington feel like we're scared of you. I mean, the Giants' defense is going to be really nice.
Oh
Their
my God!
offense-
Yeah, their front four. I mean, their whole front is
Their whole-
seven is just ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But their offense is a major work in progress.
Oh yeah, their
yeah.
offense is trash, bro. Ain't no other way to say it. It's
And
trash.
the Cowboys, I think I'll be shocked if the Cowboys win 7 games this year.
Well, they did revamp their offensive line. They did revamp that offensive line.
I don't. They got to figure out who they are.
Yeah, they picked up Pickens
That's the
too,
thing
right?
about the Cowboys.
Yeah, they picked up Pickens, but he's
So
a head
I
case.
wonder how he's going to work with CeeDee Lamb. They may argue.
That's
They
what I'm
both
saying.
they're tight.
They gonna argue. They're
running- Their
Yeah.
running game is a question mark. Their running game, they have some nice names, but I don't know if that necessarily means much.
Right.
And most of those guys are like on the third team. It looks like, it's not like these guys were necessarily killing it wherever they were before. They're nice players, but
Yeah.
their running game isn't something where you're like, they got to figure that out.
Yeah,
Because
Jay
your
Blue,
passing game, if you
Jay
try to-
Blue from Texas probably gonna start at running back for him.
maybe,
Jay
but here's the
Down
thing:
Yep.
if you got to
Yeah.
keep passing all the time
Rookie.
in that
Yeah, I
division,
like him too. That was a good sneaky pickup.
there was.
But
I mean,
you gotta look at
Cowboys-
something too. And this is what cause my cousin, he a diehard Cowboy fan. He said, man, we got Pickens. I said, bro, Pickens a head case, doc. I said, look, Jalen Tolbert, and then the tight end they got for the Cowboys, that's the second and third option. Okay, you can say on paper Pickens gonna be number 2, but it's a reason why Pickens didn't sign an extension with Dallas. He want crazy money, and I'm like, bro,
You said with Dallas or
No. He's saying he's with the Cowboys because he
I'm
wants
talking
to
about
go
the
to
Cowboys.
agency.
because he want to
He
get
hasn't
paid.
signed it
Right.
yet. Oh,
Yeah.
all right.
So I
It's
feel
gonna be a
like
selfish season, is what you're saying.
right,
He's
it's gonna be a self, which is gonna play into our advantage. So they're gonna have turmoil in that first quarter of the year while they figure that out. So again, like Glenn said, we catching them at a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got a cancer in their locker room. Man.
Absolutely.
So that's why I feel like they're gonna be a beatable team. Like he's
And we already know.
turmoil
Hey,
on the sidelines when Jalen is locking him up. He gonna be upset. He gonna be upset, and that's gonna bode well for us in that game, man. I'm not afraid of them, man. I like what they got in Donovan Ezaraku to add with your boy Will to come off the edge, but I'm not afraid of them. Like Glenn said, man, I think they have a lot. They have to figure out who they are, and they haven't figured that out in the past 10 years.
10 years,
maybe.
yeah.
Like 10 years.
They are
before
the
Dak's
Dallas. They're the Dallas Jerry Jones.
time. Yep.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm not afraid of them.
Fighting
not
Joneses.
Yeah, there it is.
So
We
again,
already said the Saints, right? We already said that's a
yeah, we
layup.
said the same.
Yeah,
Look,
that's the
we
one I
gonna,
said. That's a layup.
we're gonna
too.
pencil that in as a
With the
dub.
Saints.
That's a
Okay.
dub.
Now we go to
Now
Baltimore.
Washington, I think that's gonna be a dub too.
Washington.
Yeah,
We
Washington
looking
gonna be a
for
tough
favorites.
game, man.
we could have we beat them the year before with Justin, put up 40, and then last year we could have put up at least 20, 21. We had
Man, they got a lot
we
better,
played
though,
horrible
man.
in that game.
That's the team
Yeah.
that got better than the offseason.
yeah, they
Okay.
did, but I feel like we got better too though.
Well, here's the problem. They actually got better last year during the season. And when you learn how to win and you learn who you are, that goes and pays a lot dividends going into the next season. It's so difficult. We can't stay stuck in what happened in the past. Every season is different. We know this.
Yeah.
So going into this upcoming season or coming into the season based off of what they did last year, their building blocks or their building steps are further ahead than ours went in the other direction. We were both right here when we met, and then they went like this and we went like that. You know, it was like this. And so we're trying to get back in this direction. They're still ascending. So, and again, it's in Washington again. So, we got payback. I think it's going to be one of the, hopefully, and this is what I'm sure the NFL is hoping as well, and whoever has the game, whoever's broadcasting the game, hopefully it's one of the better games of the first half of the season. And everything on paper, everything pregame, if we do the pregame show for that one, there's so many different storylines we can build into that one that says this game should be one that everyone's sitting down to watch. It deserves to be a primetime game.
Yep.
So that's great. Does that mean a win for us? I'm 60-40 or 55-45 only because we're on the road and they're further along in their development and we having a reset.
I will say this too. I will say, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
Will and I was at that game last year, and there were probably more Bear fans at that game than there were Commanders game fans.
Yeah,
right. But that
don't
was
change this year
last
because they're a better team. Yep, they're a better team this year.
Hey, we'll see.
I mean, we don't be
they
there.
not even
We
sell us
show up and show out. That's the thing. We do show up and show out,
True.
but they're a better team. Now their fan base is just increased. Like the entire city wants to go to that game. And you think they didn't see that happened last year? They're not going to allow that to happen this year.
I know that they were hot. My daughter lives in DC and she don't even watch football like that. And she even talking about the Commander. I said, "Oh my God!"
Look, she don't even watch football. See,
yeah. You watch occasionally, but it ain't like football.
And it's Chocolate City.
It's Chocolate City
with a league that's predominantly black, and a lot of teams. Here's the thing: we're talking about as fans. There's a lot of NFL players that are going to be watching that game because these two teams are potential destination spots because they do have young talent. They do have new coaching. There may be something where they see, you know what, we want to be part of this growing culture. There's a lot of players that would like to play for Washington right now. And if Ben Johnson's everything we think he can be, and we saw how that culture, he was part of that changeover culture in Detroit. If he can bring some of that here, dude, there's very few places in the world that offer more opportunity, and if you have the money in terms of your quality of life and living, than Chicago. And you talking DC, you're right by the nation's capital, so on and so forth. So these are two big time market, just the cities alone, and two traditional teams. These are teams that have been around since the beginning. The franchise since the beginning. And so you're talking two rabid fan bases. So yeah, man, this is going to be one hell of a game, and that I don't know. I right now, maybe the wrong person.
Too close to call.
Too close to call.
That stadium gonna be rocking, man.
Man,
the one thing that bodes well for us in that game, we got to bye the week before. We got to bye before that.
Yes.
So we got a lot of time to prepare, and we got a lot of time.
I haven't seen their schedule.
Talk about what happened last year and get that payback.
Yeah, I want to see who they play before they play us as well, because right after we beat the Saints, since everybody's in agreement with that, we got to play. We got to go to Baltimore, so we're gonna be on the Beltway.
Loss.
Everything
I said about the Saints, just put that on the ball.
So you saying Derrick Henry, he got that 2-year, $30 million extension gonna run all over? Is that what you're saying?
I know. I'm saying Lamar Jackson. My first problem is Lamar Jackson. My alpha problem is Lamar Jackson, and my omega problem is Lamar Jackson. It is everything else in the middle with the defense and King Henry, and, a coaching staff that knows what to do. Yeah, and the fact that
defense
they keep falling
just
short.
got better. The defense got so much better, and they got a dominant safety and a dominant edge rusher on a great defense.
Oh yeah, they got Mike Green.
They going. Man, they got Mike, and they got, I forgot what safety they got.
Malachi Starks, right?
Malachi Starks, yeah, that's who they got. Malachi Starks.
Really? You got Kyle Hamilton, and now you got Malachi Starks.
Exactly.
Okay, so you're set for the next 7 years, no problem.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
and just to go back right quick, the Commanders are actually got to go to the Chargers the week before they play us.
Chargers, so they go to the Chargers too. So yeah, that bode well for us there. They crossing the country then too.
The country crossing,
and the flight back. Yep.
But
it's a Monday night game too. So
look, they could have had us play the Saints week 6, then the Ravens and Bengals in week 7 and 8. But instead, we got to go play Washington, then come back play the Saints, then go back and play Baltimore.
Ravens. And then we go play Cincinnati right after that.
Yeah, that's gonna be a shootout though.
That's the shootout.
Yeah, that's gonna be a shootout.
Well, every game they play against good offense is a shootout.
I know I said don't go back years, so and I'm gonna stick with that. that being said, the only reason why I am slightly going back is because that offense is pretty much still the same personnel in terms of the wide receivers and the quarterback. Running back has changed. I get that. Their defense is in a quandary right now.
Yes.
And I'm saying when the Bears beat them, we were, that was, what's Nagy's his lame duck season, and Justin had to come in and spell Dalton. But my point is they induced Burrow into 4 interceptions in that game. And our secondary is better now than it was then.
Oh, yeah.
And Burrow, as good as he is, and I'm a Burrow fan, as good as he is, there are times where, because he has so much confidence in receivers in himself, the team and the coaching staff and Burrow, they will let him do what he does. I can see him throwing 2-3 picks against the Bears, and that could be, and the Bears, and again, it's weird. You go decade by decade, different iterations of coaches. The Bears seem to always really do competitively well against that division. They just have. A lot of times they come away 2-2.
Mm-hmm. So you're saying we're going to beat the Ravens?
Oh, I'm saying that's a nail. But Cleveland and Cincinnati, those could be wins.
Yeah.
Those could be wins. And
Pittsburgh too, but
still trying to figure out the quarterback.
Pittsburgh is I think that's a winnable game, really winnable game in Pittsburgh. That's because that's another team that
game is Chicago, right?
That game is in Chicago.
And it's at home.
Right? So that game and the Giants game is Chicago too, right?
Yeah.
Giants games should be interesting.
Why? They don't have
they have a defense.
They have a hell of a
They have a defense. But if they don't have nobody throwing the ball, I mean.
Well, you got Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston.
That's true.
They got some veterans.
I don't know. By then, you might see that other boy. You might see Jackson by then.
Jackson Dart.
That season could be over. It's week 10.
Yeah, I don't think so. Not with both those. Not with Winston and
with both of those.
No, because those guys, I mean the general manager and the head coach, they need to save their job.
Yep, that's true.
And you ain't trying to depend on a rookie to save your job.
And that was a real safe move by signing Russell Wilson. That was safe for them.
And Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
Quarterback development, the whole 9. And then we got the Vikings in between with J.J. McCarthy. He still ain't got it figured out when we play him the second time around.
Well, that's the Kool-Aid fan of you talking, Will, and I can respect that, and I love you for it. However, they have a really good head coach who's really good at developing quarterbacks.
That is true.
No-name, nothing quarterbacks.
Hopefully he's not regression. Well, yeah, in our case he does. But
you got a hellified offensive line. They have everything developed. They're basically just a quarterback away from being arguably the second most talented, best dangerous team in the NFC. They really are.
True.
They have receivers,
got everything built around them.
Tight end, running backs, offensive line, active, aggressive, talented defense, and Turner's going to be a year better in incorporating into that defense, and he is a chess piece mismatch nightmare on defense, potentially speaking. They have a lot going for them, and they took Sam Darnold and won the division last year. So, he hasn't had a starting quarterback go back to back. I think in almost 3 years now.
3 years,
3 years, and he still flourished every year.
And if we beat the Vikings, like I believe we feel we should, game 2, you damn well know for certain they can't. They're gonna have extra attention on us. So and this is a division game. Division games, it's hard for me to say they're gimmies unless the teams are really just bad, and they're bad. And we were that team, and if we didn't have such bad coaching, we probably have a better winning division, a better record in our division winning than we went the llast 2 years. We should at the very worst been 3-3 the last couple of years. Arguably could have been 4-2 2 years ago, and last year could have been 5-1. So I mean, it's division games are like this, man. They can go like this. So second time around, especially with being the first time around, I'm just saying it's not a layup, Will. That's all. I'm just, I know you were smiling, you were happy, and I felt your joy.
We'll still say it's a layup.
Yeah, he said,
look,
go ahead. Nothing you said. I heard nothing you said.
I hear you. But through those 11 games so far, the only team that I'm really afraid of,
Ravens.
is the Ravens. Because now I feel like we got better coaching, man. When you look at the last 3 years, all the games that we should have won that we talk about when we go back on memory lane,
Coaching.
it was coaching. It boiled down to coaching. The year we went 3-14 before we went on that massive losing streak, the game we should have won, we lost because of coaching. We went 7-10. We should have been 10-7. We all can recall them 3 games that we lost. Broncos, that we had a 3 touchdown lead, Browns, and Detroit, that we lost in the final waning seconds, where that should have been 10 wins. Then you go 5-12, and you can look through those games too and say, well, we should have won that Green Bay game.
9-8 would have been
at a minimum. But then again, everything happened the way it's supposed to happen, the way the universe wants us to happen. Because if we go 9-8, then we still talking about flus.
Yep. Not only the poor coaching decisions that were being made, but also the lack of aggression that we saw from our offensive coordinators and our defensive coordinator in all of those games for those 2 seasons. We just didn't play an aggressive style of defense or offense for that nature. And so that's all changing now. Like I said, Ben Johnson does not just want to win a game; he wants to beat you. He want to crush your skull. He want to take you. He want to suck the life out of your team. That's what he tries to do, and I love it. And I feel like that's just going to carry on throughout the team. That personality is going to carry on to the defense. They're not going to want to allow teams to score any points. You know, we're going to be hopefully a stingy defense. You know, an opportunistic defense. You know, that's going to generate some turnovers and get the ball back to the offense, which Ben didn't have either. He's never had a really great defense. He's had good defenses, but he's never had a great defense either. So that's going to see the match between Ben and Dennis Allen. I'm like that's a perfect match right there to see what they can do together. Like that could yield some craziness for us if everything just. But the thing is, everything has to work out. Everyone has to develop and learn their positions and everything. So that takes time. That's the thing about it. How soon is this team going to be ready to play up to speed, up to the level where we're competitive enough and we understand the schemes and all of our positions? Like that's the one thing that I think about.
I think we'll be competitive immediately. I really do, because the team is, especially on defensively, it's a veteran team. Getting Grady Jarrett helps immensely as well. And it helps with the maturity factor more so. And that defense, those players know who they are. Even though there's maybe a different defensive scheme, those players know who they are. And it's for the coaches at that point to learn more about them than them really, you know, breaking their head over the scheme and all that kind of stuff. I think we'll see that the immediacy of the defense, and that's the side that develops more quickly anyway. But I think because it's a veteran but young and athletic team with the additions that they have, particularly in Grady, I think that'll show itself in terms of, you know, the developmental aspect you were talking about, Samuel, in terms of immediate. Because offensively is where we're going to really have to see a lot. Where the patience you referred to earlier is going to have to be a part of the process. But that being said, the veteran leadership that's been included, particularly on the offensive line, will help with that.
Oh yeah,
that transition happen a lot sooner. I think with the veteran wide receiver you have, and I think with the football IQ that the receivers seem to possess, and getting a couple more veteran guys that can fill in the slot until Luther develops, you know, more consistently. I think it'll show. And to your point earlier, and both you and Samuel and Will, in terms of Will saying, you know, I'm not scared of anybody outside of the Ravens. I do believe that this team, and when I'm saying to your point, Samuel, in terms of our roster being a lot better, I believe there isn't a team in the NFL that I don't think we can compete. That I don't think that will be a problem with us competing with. That we'll be able to compete. I know we have the Eagles on our schedule. I know we've got the Ravens, and I'm not saying those will be wins. But I'm talking about just the compete level, where, you know, hey, you may win, but you know we here and we're not back down, and we may just need a little more time to figure you out. But next time around, bet
Mm-hmm.
You might don't you're not going to go mark us off like a win like you did this season.
Right.
So and overall, the point I'm trying to get at, because I know I take a long time to make a point.
No, go ahead, Rob.
What I'm getting at is, in terms of what you said, in terms of, by you, I'm talking to you, Samo, in terms of time and development. The great thing about the two coaches that we have, our de facto, our head coach / offensive coordinator and our defensive coordinator, neither one of them are going anywhere anytime soon. Dylan Allen is not going to be offered a head coaching job anytime soon.
Yep.
He probably doesn't want one anytime soon.
I agree.
And so he's still young enough that he may want a shot down the line, but I think that's at least 3 years away, maybe 4. And by the reason why I say 3 or 4, just like Ben Johnson wasn't necessarily in a hurry to leave Detroit, he wanted to see if you could get to that Super Bowl, you got a taste of it.
Yep.
I think by year 2 or 3 with this coaching regime, we'll be in a position like that where we're, in the quarterfinals or the semifinals or the NFC Championship game, if not a Super Bowl, to where those guys want to see it through before they take the next step. Dennis Allen may turn around and be like, over at the Chiefs, Magnolia, where it's like, hey, I'm good. I just or like we see with Philadelphia, we've got
Vic.
We get Vic's like, I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. Because the reason why I say this, because Chicago, this city, it still does a thing, man. A lot of times players get here and they make their lives here afterwards. Even if they're from warm weather, sometimes they end up making their lives here because it offers so much. It really does. And you're talking about, and this is where I get into this dynamics when we're talking about culture, it's if it weren't for Chicago, this would be a red state. But it's Chicago, so it's a blue state.
Mm-hmm.
There are things with happening in our country and around the world where when you have family, and if you have daughters and you have things along those lines, you want to have access to things and not having somebody dictate to you where so and why, all that stuff. Now I know Chicago taxes work against us. I know Illinois taxes kind of works against us, but in terms of quality of life, and you're talking about these individual millionaires, quality of life and where you raise your family and what a city has to offer and the vitality of Chicago. If everything's working right, man, dude, it ain't nothing like winning in a place like Chicago. I don't care what the sport is, but particularly the Bears, because it's a Bears town. It was Michael Jordan moment. Michael Jordan ain't never got to buy a drink here, especially because he had a restaurant at one point. But in the Cubs, in terms of baseball, the Cubs, the city bleeds more blue than it does White Sox. But that's a different story. I'm not gonna get into that. But the Blackhawks, they had their moments, you know what I'm saying? Yep. But end of the day, first and foremost, you live here, it's a Bears town. You win here, that's ask any 85 Bear alum. They still eating off that. 30 years ago, 40 years ago,
40 years ago.
You ain't never lied.
2 generations.
And so many opportunities came for them outside of football. Even now, even to this day, even those Bears teams that didn't make the Super Bowl that we had during the Lovey era, we still see those guys eating well in Chicago. So you're absolutely right. They've made some really great points there. And like you say, we match up well against any team in the NFL right now. But so that being said, I know we're still going through the schedule, but what do you think could derail this season? Like, what is the one thing that
injuries
derail this season?
Injuries.
Because the schedule was Glenn was right. The schedule guys love us.
Yeah,
the only thing I don't like is the early bye, but other than that,
don't look at the back half though. Go look at them back 6. After the Eagles, are you scared of Green Bay?
Exactly. That's what I say.
Look,
nice.
Cleveland, Green Bay again, San Fran, and Detroit.
Yeah.
At home.
In the cold.
That's freezing.
In the cold.
So, like, what could derail this season other than injury? And injuries could be a thing because we got that early bye. We had that early bye, but the way that we got some late games, we got a lot of late games.
I was about to say we got the Monday night games. We got some Thursday. We got a Thursday night game as well. I know we got a couple Monday nights.
We got one Thursday night.
Got a Friday night game, Black Friday.
Friday.
Right.
Maybe that's the game that I'm thinking about. Yeah, the Philadelphia.
That's the Eagles game.
That's the
Eagles game.
That's a loss.
Yep. That's after playing the Steelers too.
I'll say this, and it's with a caveat. I believe an 0-3 start could potentially derail us, because then it's where's the buy-in. Now, I say with a caveat, because sometimes a loss like that, and I'm a firm believer, always have been, you learn more from losing than you do winning. Losses like that sometimes can galvanize early season, and you'll see a team turning around. You can go 0-3, and the Bears might turn around with 17 games. That's 14 left. Bears might turn around and go 12-2 down the stretch, with the Ravens and the Eagles being the only losses.
Yep.
Because everybody else is beatable. I don't believe that there's any other team on the Bears schedule that I'm looking at and I go, we're definitively the underdog. We may be an underdog because we're on a road or injury, this and that, but not where we're like 7+ points underdog. I just don't see that. I really don't. So an 0-3 start could potentially derail us in terms of the buy-in, and some players who are veterans with their contracts coming up, in terms of maybe getting not selfish, but more like self how can I say it? Where you're trying to self-preservation. So like, look, like, hey, dude, I gotta get mine because I need to get paid. Are y'all keeping me? Where am I going? What are we doing? What's my role? You messing me up? That kind of thing that we don't see what they feel during practice. You see game planning, but sometimes it manifests itself on the field in lack of execution, but we don't necessarily know the whys and wherefores, and we won't find that out until somebody writes a book or podcast, whatever down the stretch.
Later,
that's with a caveat. That's me really trying to find something. I'm with you. Outside of injury to a significant position and or player, I have a hard time believing that this won't be a season where the Bears are above 500.
So for me, I agree with you. The only thing I could see is the injury
to the quarterback,
and to a significant players like quarterback and maybe a Montez Sweat. I think that derails the season. That could hurt a lot. But the other thing for me is Caleb Williams and his development. Like, how long is it going to take him to develop and play on time and play from underneath center and and be play with discipline. Like,
I'm telling you right now,
3 seasons. That's going to be good.
3 seasons. It's going to take 3 seasons for him to be what everybody thought he'd be, hitting the ground running. 3 seasons, because he's going to have to unlearn some stuff that he did to survive last year.
Exactly.
It's the second system he's going to have to learn.
Yep.
And then, like you said, there's the nuances and the perfecting of those nuances to where you become a dangerous player and not the liability. And Caleb is such a driven player. He wants, like most young cats, you want everything now. And I don't mean that in a bad way. And he works really hard to get all that. But sometimes you want it so much, you push so hard, you become a detriment to yourself. Like sometimes, like, take Kobe, for example. Kobe didn't need to be shooting those shots against Utah in the playoffs.
Yep.
He thought he was Kobe already. He wasn't Kobe yet.
Yep, exactly. He had to figure that out.
He's Bean's son. Bean Bryant's son.
He wasn't a Mamba yet. Right. Exactly.
But by like year 3 or 4, and again, keep in mind his development kind of in Phil being there, all that stuff. Then he's a monster. And then he kept getting better. So right. So I think with Caleb, football is a different thing than basketball. Obviously, we know we're comparing apples and watermelons and stuff. But with football, you can see that progression. And again, I always say it, the quarterback position is the most important position in all football, all team sports, in my opinion, really. But it's also the most interdependent position in all of team sports. Yes. So you got to have those guys working in concert with you. I think everything's there. I think he's got the right guy to push him, but also keep him. Think of it like Brett Favre. To me, I compared before he was drafted. I remember the year before, the offseason going into when the Bears were going to draft him. I really felt that he reminded me more of Brett Favre in the sense that you've got all the talent in the world, but we've got to figure out how to harness it. Yep. So you're not a detriment to your team and yourself, because you can do these things doesn't mean you should always do these things.
Right. Having that gunslinger mentality
right.
all the time. Yeah. The only thing that also I think about with Caleb is what we saw he was most efficient at, which was the deep ball accuracy. Like, if teams know that if he's still struggling with that this year, then I think that's going to make it a lot harder for the entire offense and this team in general too. But that's the thing those are the things that scare me about Caleb. Like that's the only thing that scares me about this team is Caleb has to be ready. I know everybody granted him and said that he's the generational talent. He wasn't last year. He wasn't that generation. He wasn't that generational talent. He had some damn good games. I mean, he put up some good numbers, but we see where he struggles. And
don't even get me started.
He has to. Yeah, right.
Well, guess what, guys? Look, y'all see you see the schedule. I know Glenn don't want to do this, but hypothetically, look, we're gonna go around the horn, and you're gonna put out and we're gonna mark them down what you anticipate this year's record being. Terry, I'm gonna let you. We're gonna go counterclockwise. Terry, I'm gonna let you start it off. And look, I'm keeping receipts over here.
You keeping receipts. All right. I think realistically,
go game by game, Doc. Come on now, do it right.
Okay. Minnesota won. We won. That's a W.
What you stuttering for? You didn't say that with no confidence.
Terry, just go ahead and say it.
Man, hey, I had to zoom in. My eyes getting bad. I had to see who we were playing.
Oh, you didn't say that with no confidence.
Hey, well, hold on. I'm gonna say it with my chest for the next one. So y'all ready. Detroit win. Dallas win. Raiders win. Bye. We win. Because we're going to rest up. Saints win.
That's 5.
Baltimore lost.
5-1.
Cincinnati win. Giants
6-1.
win.
7-1.
Minnesota win.
8-1.
Steelers win.
9-1.
I love
Eagles
Chicago
lost.
fans.
9-2.
Oh.
Green Bay lost.
9-3.
Hey, screw that, man. We 1-0 in Green Bay with this team. They're on a 2-game losing streak.
These are my picks. Cleveland win. Green Bay win.
11-3.
San Fran win.
12-3.
Detroit lost.
12-4. You got one more. You got Washington.
Oh,
You skipped him.
win.
Okay, 13-4. All right, Samo, let's go.
Ooh, that's a lot.
I love Bear fans, y'all.
Right,
y'all
that was a big one. Yeah,
y'all are precious.
All right,
Y'all not gonna be
you
too
got the
far off.
Vikings dub. You can put the Vikings as a dub. You're gonna give a dub for Detroit, of course, a dub for the Cowboys, and Glendon talked me out of Vegas, so I'm gonna take the L for Vegas. I'm gonna be honest with you.
3-1.
Take the L in Vegas. That's 3-1. Washington, man, I'm gonna give it an L, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm gonna give it the L in Washington. Saints to win. We're gonna take the L in Baltimore.
4-3.
We're gonna take the L in Cincinnati.
4-4.
Just because we there. We're gonna win against the Giants at home. I think
5-4.
Vikings beat us.
Ooh, 5-5.
We beat the Steelers. We
6-5.
lose to Philadelphia.
6-6.
We beat Green Bay. We beat
7-6. 8-6.
we're gonna beat Green Bay again.
9-6.
We're gonna lose to San Francisco. We're gonna beat the Lions.
Ooh, 10-7.
10-7, then. That's where it ended up at.
Dang. Samo ain't playing, boy.
I like it though. I like it.
I think I'm with Samo with the number, just the different wins and losses.
All right.
So
I'm
gonna go Vikings win.
1.
I'm gonna go loss to Detroit.
1-1.
And I'm winning the next 2 games. Beat the
3-1.
Cowboys, and we're gonna beat the Raiders.
3-1.
We're gonna lose the Commanders.
3-2.
Gonna beat the shit out the Saints.
4-2.
Gonna lose a close game to the Ravens.
4-3.
Physically, that's going to be a demanding thing that we have a hard time getting back from. So I think we lose the next game to the Bengals.
Ooh, 4-4.
Beat the Giants, another physical game.
5-4.
Which is going to hurt us when we play the Vikings for the second time in Minnesota.
5-5.
Beat the Steelers.
6-5.
Again, the physicality, and then having to travel to the East Coast and playing the Eagles, unless Jalen Hurts is hurt, and 7 other guys are hurt on that deep ass team.
Yep.
That's a loss.
6-6.
I think we say undefeated in Lambeau and beat the Packers,
Okay, 7-6.
beat the Browns,
8-6.
beat the Packers again,
9-6.
beat the 49ers,
10-6.
and then we beat the Lions.
11-6. Okay.
11
Yeah,
and
hey,
6.
y'all laugh at me, but you only 2 games off from me.
Yep. He right there with you, right?
Yeah.
But I say that, and I said 10-7 because I got a little happy with the Packers thing. We might
Split.
see. You know what? Yeah, it's a Saturday night game, I think, too, right? Yeah, Saturday night game.
Yeah, that
The
second one is
Packers,
Saturday night.
You know what? Let me rescind that one. I think we lose that one at home.
Okay, 10-7.
Yeah, so 10-7. Yeah,
Dang.
but I think we win the last 2 for sure.
Ooh, boy, y'all boys tough. Because you know I got to go Vikings. That's a dub.
14-2. You got them 14-2.
Lions a dub.
You just got to move to the Ravens.
No.
Cowboy a dub.
3-0.
Raiders a dub.
4-0.
Commanders, we get paid back. We get our lick back from last year. That's a dub.
5-0. Dang.
The Saints, that's a dub.
6-0.
Then the Ravens, because I saw a stat on Lamar Jackson. He just don't lose the NFC.
He doesn't.
Period.
He doesn't.
So unfortunately, I got to say that's going to be an L, but it's going to be close though.
6-1.
It's going to be close. The Bengals, we win in a shootout, guys. 45-42.
7-1.
The Giants, we going to win.
8-1.
The Vikings, we're going to get them again.
9-1.
The Steelers don't have a quarterback. We got them.
Even November 23rd, they still don't have a quarterback, huh?
They still don't have one. Now the Eagles, they gonna get us with that tush push, guys. I hate to say it.
10-2.
Green Bay, for whatever reason, our coach Ben Johnson owns LaFleur. Mentally,
7-2.
Cleveland is gonna be Shador time, but we're gonna have to push it. Remember how they sacked Justin 9 times in Cleveland? We're gonna get our lick back.
12-2. We getting
We're
our
gonna
lick
get our
back.
lick
Hey, 12-2.
Green Bay,
Like,
we're gonna get them again. Hey,
Woo,
believe this guy,
13-2.
49ers. This is gonna be a year the 49ers gonna be trash. So we're gonna get them. We're gonna beat the 49ers. And then that last game, guys, we're gonna win that one too.
15-2. Willie, Big Willie. 15-2.
15-2, Doc. We're going to the playoffs.
Hey.
I'm predicting at a minimum NFC championship game.
Well, I'm going to say this to your thing, to everybody. Don't forget December 7th is a day that might live in infamy. You know, it happened in 1941. Yeah, it happened in 1941. It might happen to us in Green
Might
Bay.
happen to us again, right?
Right.
Hey,
Yeah.
I'm just saying, guys.
And then the other thing, it's my fault. I'll take the complete blame for Week 11 loss at Minnesota. It'll be my fault because it'll be my birthday and it'll be my wish.
Man.
And I'm just karma's just going to say no.
It's gonna say no.
Yeah,
Huh?
it's going to say no. So that
No,
one's
'cause
on me,
you're gonna be-
fellas.
You're
That's
gonna
on
be
me.
at the game, baby. You're gonna be in. Come on, you're gonna be rooting for the hopeful. We all gonna be there. We gonna wheel them to a dub. What you mean?
I'm just saying, man. You know, I know how the universe works, bro. so I'll take responsibility for that one. I'm just saying.
Speaking from experience, like he's like, I've been living this.
I've been living this 50 plus
living
years.
this.
Hey, guys, we had a good time, man. Look, it's gonna be a fun-filled year. Hopefully, we get to shoot a lot of these from the actual location of the game this year. Because I know me and Terry was talking about going at least 8. We might do more depending on how they start off. The first 4 will set the tempo. So, Glenn, Samo, hey, I want y'all to make sure y'all in attendance. We'll talk about where we'll be sitting at, because we're in the wild 100s. That's how we do it.
That's where I was raised, man. Wow,
Hey,
Right?
come on
Well,
now.
hundreds.
Come on now.
116th and data, baby.
Come on.
Beach outside.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. 100.
Hey, anybody got anything else to add before we get up out of here?
No, I'm excited. I'm ready for some football, man. That's it. Enough said. Bear down, baby.
Come on, baby,
Yeah.
bear down, boy.
I'm
Another
with him. I'm
goat.
with him.
Ah,
Let's go.
Balls
there you
up,
go.
Yes,
bear
sir.
down, baby.
You always throw me off.